All right, Sky says, how important is link sculpting these days if it's still relevant? How do you deal with less important pages on your website? For example, would you no follow your navigation terms privacy links off page when you were trying to pass authority from a Facebook page to your website? Do multiple links to other sources partially dilute the authority? Okay, there's obviously going to be some conflicting opinions on here about this. I'm going to give you my personal strategy, Sky, and what my opinions are about this, and then I know that Hernan will chime in as well. But I still think link sculpting is very important. I still do it all the time. For those of you that are unaware of what Sky's talking about, it used to be called page rank sculpting. I guess it still could be, although that's not really a term that we use a whole lot anymore, is page rank. Essentially, it's a way to no follow and do, by using the no follow attribute or tag to links, you can essentially sculpt where and direct where you want page rank to flow, or link equity, you could call it, within the site. Okay, and so for example, almost all sites, and they should, have privacy policy in terms of service links, which are generally in the footer of the site. Well, there's no reason for those to be do follow links. They should be no follow links because you're not trying to pass any link authority or any link equity to those pages, right? So there's no reason for them to be left as do follow. Same thing goes with like a contact page or an about us page. In my opinion, there's absolutely no reason to pass link equity through to those pages. They're not pages that you're trying to rank and drive traffic to. So I always no follow all links that go to pages that I'm not trying to direct traffic to, okay, or that I'm not trying to rank in the SERPs for that matter. So I always no follow everything. I also no follow all outbound links on money sites. I don't care what they're to, unless it's to another one of my own properties. But usually on money sites, I no follow all outbound links, and I do follow links within silos. In other words, if I'm linking from like a supporting article up to another post or page within a specific silo, that'll be do follow. But if I'm lateral linking or horizontal linking over to another silo, then I'll always no follow that because I don't want to bleed the theme. So my opinion is link sculpting is still very important. I still do it. It's a practice. It's just habit for me. And as far as the off-page part of it, no, I don't think posting links to related content on like your Facebook page, for example, that's not going to dilute the authority coming back to your site, because first of all, those are no follow links, number one. Number two, it doesn't matter because it's the relevancy there that's important, and that's part of the reason why, if you guys are aware of Curation Mastery, which is a course that we created on how to curate articles, how to use them for SEO and for money site posts, for PBNs, for all kinds of stuff. Curated content works so much better than normal like content farm type content because of the relevancy that you create by posting or sharing links, linking to relevant content, particularly relevant content that has high social metrics, high social activity. So as far as the off-page part of it, no, I don't. If as long as you're linking all the related or relevant type stuff, topically relevant stuff, then it's not going to dilute the authority. But that's my opinion. What's your take on it?
Well, I think that, well, I agree with you on what you say with link sculpting. So, I mean, Google will deem more relevant pages of your website on autopilot. I mean, just by the way it works. If you're usually when you're doing terms, privacy, you're pretty much, it's really hard that you get your own privacy or terms of service and whatnot. So you're pretty much using duplicate content, just changing a couple of things to refer to your own case. If that's your case, then yeah, no, follow them because they don't. They don't provide any value to the visitor, and usually I also no index them, so just to avoid duplicate content issues. So I don't care about building links to them, nor internally nor externally. Now regarding link sculpting, yeah, it makes a lot of sense because when you're optimizing your website, Google will rank better some pages internally than others. So the main idea there is to piggyback on those choice that Google has done for you, has made for you in the way that you can power up those pages to take them from page 2 to page 1 without building a single backlink. Just by link sculpting, just by doing more posts and linking back to that page. And the other part of your question, I would say that we have proven, and with RYS, we have proven that the having outbound authority links and trust flow and page authority, it's a two-way metric. So having outbound authority links will actually help you increasing the metrics of your properties. So Facebook, it's a particular case, but if you're doing contextual like WordPress or Tumblr, the current IFTTT wheel, it's a two-way avenue for the metrics. So I think that it will actually help you rank and index better if you're linking outbound to authority links. So that would be my intake on it.
Yeah, and not just authority, but topical relevancy is the most important part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for example, the standard SEO training that has been for the last several years has been, especially like PBN training, which makes me want to puke, is, go out and buy a high metric domain, slap a new WordPress site on it, and slap a content farm article on it with a link back to your money site, and boom, you're going to rank. That's how you do SEO now, right? And that's complete garbage because, number one, like the content farm articles, they're shit to begin with. Number two, you can smell a PBN blog from a mile away. In other words, if you come across a PBN site when you're surfing the web, it's a PBN site. I mean, it's so easy to spot. And if you think Google reviewers can't spot them, then you're crazy. You shouldn't be in SEO, And so, like, that's why we use curated content, because with curated content, first of all, you set up the sites to where they look like normal, like real websites, and not just a standard like PBN blog. Number one, but number two, we outbound link to, and pardon me for a second, but with the PBN training, people say you put a link to your money site, and then you put a link to a Wikipedia site or a .gov, mm-hmm. right? That's what you always hear. And that's you need an authority link in your content, and that's going to make it even more stronger. That's bullshit. First of all, you should be linking to something topically relevant, not necessarily a .gov or Wikipedia, because how many times has that been done over the last several years? I mean, it's been done to death. And so it's better what we do is use curated content, and we'll curate pieces of articles or content, video, infographics, slides, slide presentations, anything that we can find that's topically relevant to the subject matter of the post. And then we link out using do-follow links to those sources from our PBN sites, for example, because now what we're doing is we're showing that we're linking to other topically relevant sources. It doesn't necessarily have to be an authority link. What I'm looking for is, number one, topical relevancy, number two, social activity. That's something that I look at as kind of like a secondary measure of whether I want to link to something or not. Is if it's got a lot of social activity or blog, comments underneath the post, that's something that I want to link to because of the activity. That activity will actually improve the trust signals of that post itself that also has a link back to your money site, if that makes sense. So it's a good question, Sky. I totally recommend that you still do link sculpting.
Hey, Bradley.
Go ahead.
If I can just finish this with one thing, and I'm always discussing this with the developers when we're working, is I tell them that we have to be master mimics. And whatever we do, the mimicry that we're trying to master is we're trying to look like all of the other sites on the internet that Google bypasses to look for the websites that it knows are, like you said, these PBN sites and everything else. If you can avoid that, if you can avoid triggering that flag, then you're okay. I mean, you're not likely to get a manual unless there's some kind of other trigger before that. It's very unlikely. And so if you can become a master mimic, which you can do that through curated content, which mimics what other sites are doing. I mean, look at Yahoo. It's curated content. You look at well, just anything else on the web that publishes news, right?
Yeah.
It's curated, and with proper attribution going back to the source, and that's all you do. Now you're a master mimic, and you're pretty much avoiding triggering any of those flags that will bring that closer scrutiny back to your website.
Right. And guys, some of the biggest, most highly trafficked sites on the web are curated content sites. And so, like, if it works for them, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for my PBN type sites, you know. So that's why, you know, we recommend that. By the way, I think Curation Mastery is in with the Black Friday sale stuff, isn't it? Just to kind of drop that in there.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Shameless plug. All right.
Which is a cool course. I mean, you could create a business around that course.
You certainly
which
can.
Is crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, like, aside from the SEO part of it, you can create a content marketing business, which, guys, I just came back from the Internet Summit last week in Raleigh, and, you know, about 60% of all the presentations and topics were about content marketing. It's huge. Content marketing, I think there was a, I should have bookmarked the link, but there was a study that says by 2019 or something like that, it's going to be a $300 billion a year industry.
2018 even. Yeah, it was like in 3 years it's going to be $300 billion.
$300 billion a year. It's like, come on. So content marketing is becoming more and more mainstream. In other words, even small businesses and such are going to have to get into the content marketing game, or they're going to fall behind. They're going to lose their website or online traffic, because in order to get traffic now, content marketing has to be a part of your strategy, your marketing strategy. And so as it continues to pick up steam, you know, there's going to be entire businesses, which there already are, but it's going to become more and more so that more businesses are going to be created specifically to deal with just content marketing. And Curation Mastery is a course that can teach you exactly how to do that, where you don't have to sell results. In other words, you're not selling ranking, you're selling activity or service, such as blogging for businesses, which would be the content marketing aspect of it. And there's a lot of money to be made in that. So.